YouTube. This is a recap of sales from 2025. Just looking back on the most profitable and least profitable cards. So I have about 399, so almost 400 cards in this sheet that I recorded. I tried to label them by strategy, so quick flip, arbitrage, NFL draft. There's one set that I go after, which is the 1986 Fleer basketball set, so I labeled that on there. And I'll go through a couple examples from the most profitable and the least profitable. Number one on the list for profitable was Lamine Yamal, and I paid a total of $1,850 for a bunch of cards of his on eBay, and I sold them for a total of $3,500. So my profit was $1,688 on Lamine Yamal cards. And that was a quick flip strategy. I bought them and resold them right away. So that was just spotting Lamine Yamal, who was taking off, and reselling him as his prices were taking off and going up. So that worked out well. And then the most profitable single card was this Wilt Chamberlain 1961 Fleer rookie. I got $1,550 for an SGC 1.5, and I sold it for $2,000. So I made $450 on that card. And the strategy there was targeting a specific card. So some of the specific cards that I was targeting was this Wilt Chamberlain rookie. Another one here, the Michael Jordan Fleer sticker rookie. And there's a bunch of those here on the most profitable flips that I had this year. Out of the top 10, there's like 4 or 5 of those Jordans. The third most profitable was Pele 2022 Prism Auto PSA 10. I paid $500 and sold it for $900. Ironically, Pele is also on the top of the least profitable. So I made $400 on this card, but if I sort by least profitable here, this is the single least profitable card that I sold this year, was this Pele rookie card from 1958. PSA 2, I paid $590 for it on a COMC auction, and then I sent it to auction on Alt, and it sold for $265, so I lost $300 on that card. And the thinking behind that was that, if I recall, this card was like mislabeled or something, and I thought that it would go for less than it should if it was properly labeled in the listing title. But I had it listed for sale for probably over a year or two, and it never sold. I never got any offers on it. I lowered the price a bunch of times, and so finally I just auctioned it off and took a loss on that card. The second least profitable card was this Malachi Nelson Superfractor from 2024 Bowman Chrome. I paid $394 around the time when he was named the starter, and thinking that if he played well, this card would sell for about $1,000 or so, is what typically like a good quarterback Superfractor would sell for. But instead he had kind of a bad season and got benched. And instead of holding on to it for another year and hoping that he plays better next year, I just sent it to auction to get rid of it, and I got $86 for it. So I lost $300 on that card. And the third least profitable card, the biggest loss, was this Cooper Flag 2024 Fanatics Auto. I paid $696 for it, and at the time that was probably about the lowest price for a Cooper Flag Auto, and my thinking was that I would be able to relist it, buy it now for like $800 or $900 and make a small profit on it, but it didn't sell. And then as more of his autos came out, the prices came down a bit, and so I just sent it at auction and sold it for $424. So I lost $270 on that card. Let's see if we go back to to the more profitable ones. So Lamine, Wilt Chamberlain, Pele. This Tyrese Maxey I made $360 on. Optic Purple Auto PSA 10. I think I was just checking comps, and sometimes this happens where I'll be checking comps for a card. I think at the time it was like an Optic Luka Doncic auto or something, and then I just saw this card and realized that the pricing wasn't quite right, or it seemed like it was out of whack, and I got it for $636 and listed it Buy It Now, and it sold for my listing price for $1,000. So I made $363. That was a good flip. And 1986 Fleer Jordan stickers. There were 1, 2, 3. Let me see if I take out the Ralph Sampson here. I made $1,300 on these 5 Jordan sticker rookies. And then the 86 Fleer Ralph Sampson PSA 10, paid $622, bought it on Fanatics, and sold it for $899. I just relisted it Buy It Now, and so I made $277 on that one. Jeremiah Love just sold this past week for $365. His Bowman Chrome first auto in a CGC 10, I paid $120 for it and sent it to auction because he was like really hot after he had a really big game and maybe is getting a lot of Heisman Trophy hype. So I sent that to auction, made $245 profit on that card. And then Daniel Jones, when he took off at the beginning of the year, I got this Contenders Gold rookie ticket auto, numbered out of 10, for $195 on eBay, and then I sent it to auction on Fanatics, and it sold for $432. So I made $237 on that. And then you can see some more stickers here. Jordan sticker, this one, and these. So all those in the top in my most profitable cards. Arbitrage was another profitable thing. I got this Nikola Jokic auto for $400 that sold for close to $600, so made almost $200 for that. So that was an arbitrage card. Tommy DeVito was similar to, this was like a year or two ago, this was similar to the Daniel Jones when he was hot, and I bought it and sent it to, well, this one I relisted Buy It Now for $300 and made $185. Here's that Luka Doncic optic that I was talking about. I think that's where I spotted the Tyrese Maxey, but the Luka Doncic paid $600, sold for $785. So those were the profitable cards. There's another arbitrage one here from Tom Brady, a Tom Brady for $620 that I sold for $799. And in the least profitable ones, I'm going to say there's some prospecting. If you look under the strategy list here, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then all of these are all prospecting. So probably more than half, if you go all the way down here. There's 22 out of the top 42. Well, 41 if you don't count the top row here. So 22 out of the top 41 biggest losses were prospecting. And Malachi Nelson, Cooper Flagg, who else? Jalen Hurts, Nico Iamaleava, that was a big one. Wembanyama, Malachi Nelson, Iamaleava, a bunch of those. Jared McCain, Booz Ellis. So prospecting has been one of the least profitable things that I've done, and it's something that I'm currently not doing anymore. I'm not buying any card if I think that the reason that it's going to be profitable is prospecting. You see there's still some arbitrage cards that lose money and some 1986 Fleer cards that lose money. But in this case, I would say if I buy the card at a good price and list it, buy it now and just hold it, like a PSA 10 1986 Fleer card, I'm probably not going to lose money on that in the long run. It's just that you kind of have to be patient with those. This Jordan arbitrage too, I sent to auction. I think if I had it listed, buy it now, I probably wouldn't lose money on it in the long run because it's a Jordan rookie. And this Wembanyama, I kind of got lucky because I paid $3,378 for the Topps Chrome rookie refractor auto, and I finally was able to sell it for $3,262 and only lose $100. I got really lucky on that card. For a long time it was worth probably about $1,000, and thankfully he got off to a hot start and I was able to get out of that card. That was a really close call. I probably could have lost like $2,000 on that card. So I think prospecting is one of the main things, lessons learned for this past year, and also injury. So if there's another one on here that shows up a lot, it's injury. And that's like Joel Embiid or Paul George, players that are injured that I buy while they're injured, thinking that once they come back and start playing again, I'll be able to sell it for more money. But here's this Paul George rookie card, autograph. I paid $110 for it in August. And I just relisted it at auction now that he's playing again. And it sold for $63. So somehow, not what I would expect at the time when I was buying those cards, that they would sell for actually less. I really don't understand that, why they would sell for less now that they're playing than they did during the off season when they were injured. But that's what happened. Same with this other one from Paul George. So both of those, and then Joel Embiid. These are just a couple of these, but there's a bunch of other ones that I'm auctioning right now that have not sold yet, but that I expect to lose money on. And now that Embiid is playing again, these cards are still selling for less. I lost $100 a piece on these two. And these are like rookie PSA 10 Prism or rookie autograph, like on-card autos. So like really good cards of Embiid. But those are kind of some takeaways from the past year. If I look total at the profit for all these, and this isn't every single card that I've sold, but I've been trying to track more like bigger cards that I'm buying and selling. And since I started doing that, out of these, it says I'm profitable $14,000 out of these cards here. So even with those losses, a lot more profitable sales, I guess, than losses. The profitable thing to do seems to be to go after a specific card and also to do arbitrage and to identify quick flip opportunities like with Lamine Yamal or Daniel Jones or Tommy DeVito, those kinds of things. But those are pretty rare, I would say. Like maybe once a year you might spot something like that. Otherwise, just go after like a specific card that you know about, and if you can find it for cheap and relist it for like what it typically goes for. And then arbitrage, looking for other sites like at alt auctions or Fanatics or REA or Card Hobby, and trying to find cards on those other sites and then getting them shipped so you can list them on eBay or list them on Fanatics. Those seems to be the most profitable strategies. Another one that I'm hoping to do this year is the NFL draft. So none of those are in my top biggest profits, but I do have quite a bunch of these a little bit further up here from the NFL draft. The class of Jaden Daniels and Drake May. Those guys, and I started doing that this year with Ty Simpson, Fernando Mendoza, Jeremiah Love, Ruben Bain, Arvell Reese, and a lot of those guys. These are the cards that I have in my inventory now. If I go by purchase price and look at the biggest cards that I have Jeremiah Smith. I know he's for next year, but this year's class, Ty Simpson, Nussmeier, Sellers, Love. Who else? Dante Moore. So those guys this year hopefully will be in my highest profits when I look back at next year. But for this year, those were the cards that that did well, and those were the takeaways for 2025.